Welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel, brought to you by Red Heart Yarns. In this video, I will show you everything you need to know to make the Easy Split Tote by Bendy Carter. This is a really fun pattern, and it uses the brand new Red Heart Scrubby Smoothie yarn. This is a Craft Yarn Council number 4 or medium weight yarn. Along with your yarn, you're also going to need 2 different size crochet hooks. The recommended crochet hooks are a G or a 4mm and an I or a 5.5mm. Along with the crochet hooks, you also need some stitch markers, a good pair of scissors, and a bent tip tapestry needle. Once you have the materials, why don't you go ahead and download your free pattern? That's available at redheart.com. I've put a link to the pattern in the video description box right down there below, and also if you click that little I button right over there, it'll get you to the free pattern as well. Once you have the free pattern and your materials, join me back here. I'll walk you through all the things you need to know in order to make this really great tote. Now that you have your pattern and your materials, there's some important things we need to go over in the pattern before we actually begin. The first is that this tote is made in 3 pieces. You will have the body of the tote and then the 2 straps. So you are going to make the body of the tote in the round in a continuous spiral. That's actually point number 2. You will not turn and work on this tote in rows. You will work in rounds, and each round will build upon each other like a giant spiral. That's why it's so important that you do have a stitch marker so that way you can mark the beginning of the round. The last thing I want to point out is about changing color. You will change color in the last yarn over and draw through of the stitch prior to the next stitch where the color changes. That might seem a little bit confusing here to start, but I will walk you through that. I just want to point that out here at the beginning that we are going to prefer that method of changing colors. However, there will be times when you need to actually float the secondary color behind the stitches on the wrong side of the work. I'll show you how to work that as well. The last thing I want to point out in this entire summary of changing colors is do not cut your yarn until the pattern tells you to. There will be a time in the center of the tote where you are changing colors every other stitch, every so often, and so you want to make sure that you're not rejoining that yarn every time. You want to make sure that you're just floating that across the row. I'll show you how to do that too. But all of that is what you need to know before we jump in. Now, let's go ahead, get your yarn and your larger hook, and let's get started. We are working with Scrubby Smoothie. Once again, it is a size 4 or medium weight yarn per the Craft Yarn Council. If I'm using my larger size hook, I am using my I or my 5.5mm to begin. Just a reminder, you want to use the size hook that you need to get the gauge for this particular tote. It is very important that your stitches for this tote are not super tight, so you want to make sure that you're getting stitches that meet the gauge. Once you have your hook and your yarn, let's go ahead and jump in by placing a slip knot directly onto our hook. If you need detailed instructions for the slip knot or any of the other stitches here in this video, make sure you check out the link in the video description box below for standalone videos, or check out that little I button. Once you have your slip knot, go ahead and place that directly on your hook, and let's create the chain stitch. For the chain stitch, you take your hook, you swivel around your working yarn, grab it, and pull it through the loop that's on your hook. You now have created 1 chain. You never count the loop on your hook as a chain or a stitch. You do that again. You rotate your hook around the yarn, grab it, and pull it through. Now we have 2 chains. If you're following along in the pattern, you want to do this for 45 chains. For this video, I'm going to work on a smaller sample, so I won't have 45 chains, but the technique will be the same. Go ahead and get all 45 chains. Once you've reached your 45 chains, let's go ahead and jump into the round. You will do a single crochet in the second chain from hook. You never count the loop on your hook, so we will count the chain right underneath our hook as the first one. So the next one is right there. You can see that it looks like a V stitch. We will simply put our hook into that chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and draw through 2. It doesn't matter if you go through 2 of the loops, 1 of the loops, as long as you are getting into that chain, that's what we want. You will have either one loop or 2 loops remaining underneath the stitch that you've just created. Now that you've done the first single crochet, you will single crochet all the way down the row to the very last stitch, the very last chain. In that last chain, we will put 3 single crochets. So let's go ahead and do a single crochet all the way down this row to the last chain. We go to the next chain over, go in, around, pull up, and work a single crochet. Make sure you are not making these stitches really tight. You will be really grateful that you have not made them super tight on the next round. So make sure you are keeping these nice and loose. As you're working down, you'll notice that you are working into each chain stitch all the way down the row. When you get to the last chain of the row, you will place 3 single crochets into that one chain. What this is going to do is it's going to allow us to essentially turn the corner here and begin to work stitches on the bottom half of our foundation chain. So we've put 3 single crochets into this last chain. Now we're going to rotate our foundation chain over, and now I have that chain loop that I didn't use facing up, and I'm going to work into those. I want to make sure I do not use this first one because I've already put my 3 single crochets there, okay? So I don't want to put another one into there. So I'll go to the next one over. I'll find the loop that I didn't use when I was doing the single crochet on the opposite side, and I'll put a single crochet into that loop. And I'll do that all the way down the row until I get to the very first single crochet I completed. I've worked down my row and I'm to the last chain stitch. This is where I did my first single crochet, and this is the last chain stitch. I've gone ahead and marked that very first stitch, that way you could see where I was in the pattern. In this last chain stitch, I want to place 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now I'm going to begin to work in the round. So I'm going to come around and work down that side of the foundation chain, work around this edge, and then work down this side of the foundation chain. I am not going to join with the slip stitch. I'm simply going to start working into the next stitch on the opposite side of this foundation chain with a stitch. I will mark that stitch so that way it indicates it's the start of the round. Let me show you what I mean. For round 2, it states that we are going to start off with a single crochet in our very first stitch. So this is our very first stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and place a single crochet right there. And you will notice that there is a star next to the instructions at this point. So I place a single crochet right there. I will take my marker and I'm going to place it into that chain looking stitch right behind the one that's on my hook to indicate that's the start of my round. Once I've done a regular single crochet, if I follow along in the pattern, I'm now supposed to do a split single crochet. What that means is this single crochet I just did is worked into this spot, right? That big hole. And that hole is representing this stitch and that space right there, okay? That is one full stitch. And then this here and this here is a second stitch. So when I'm gonna work a split single crochet, I wanna make sure I'm not going here, but I'm coming over and I'm working into the base of this single crochet from the previous row. Normally, I would put a stitch right there, correct? When we're working a split single crochet, we want to work into the post of the single crochet. So can you see that like V right there? I'm going to put my hook right in between the two legs of that V, and I'm going to split that V. Now I'll yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, draw through 2. Now it looks like I have a V-stitch resting on top of a V-stitch. Can you see that? This is why it was so important that you made these stitches nice and loose. Now you'll notice in the instructions it says repeat from star all the way around. So if we go back to where the star is, that's where it says to single crochet in the next stitch. Well, the next stitch is right here, right? This is the post of the single crochet and this is the section of the single crochet. So we just worked into that post. So my next stitch, I would work right here into that space and work my single crochet. Now I want to make sure I don't use that post, remember, because that is already used up. I come over here to this one and I will put my split single crochet into that space. Do a single crochet into this one. Make sure I don't use that. Come over to the next and put a split single crochet into that one. Single crochet right there. Make sure I don't use that. Come over to the next one. Split single crochet right there. Single crochet right here. Don't use this one. Come over to this one. Split single crochet right here. You will work this stitch all the way around, and when we get to the beginning of the round, we would do the exact same round once again. So let's go ahead and continue this round. Now, we are not increasing when we work these rounds. So you will keep your 90 stitches that you created once you finished your foundation round. By doing this stitch pattern all the way around, we are not working any increases. So if you find that your stitches are increasing, you've messed up somehow. Maybe you've accidentally went into the post of a single crochet that you weren't supposed to. Ha, get it? Supposed to. So make sure that you do skip over one single crochet post each time. For me, I kind of think of it as, okay, this post goes with that stitch, this post is my split stitch. This post goes with that stitch, this post is my slip stitch. I don't know if that means anything to you guys, but let me go ahead and continue on and see if it makes any sense. So I'm going to do a regular single crochet just like I normally would right here. So then I want to make sure I don't go into that, right? Because that goes with this one. I want to make sure I come over to this one and do my split single crochet. Come into this one and do my regular. Come into this one and do my split. Come into this one and do my regular. Come into this one and do my split. And again, I will do this all the way to the end of the round. And when I get to the end of the round, I will know because I have marked that stitch. And then all I need to do is just continue on with these alternating of single crochet and split single crochets until I reach 19 rounds. And I'm at the end of the round. There's my marker. I know in that marked stitch, I will do a regular single crochet. It's the start of my round 2 or my round 3. I move my marker and I always mark it into that chain looking stitch behind the loop on my hook. And I just continue on. So I just did a single crochet. So I want to make sure I don't work into this one. I come all the way over here and I will do my split single crochet. You'll notice that the edges will start to cup in on themselves, cup up on themselves. And that's what we want because those edges are the corners of our totes. Let me show you what I mean by looking at the sample as I've gotten on a little bit further. So let me set this one aside and pull this one in. And on this one here, you can see I've worked several different rows at this point. And we have this nice column of V's. Those are my split single crochets that I have stacked on each other. And as I've worked around without any increasing, I've got this natural curve around the base of my tote, okay? So what you need to do is continue on repeating this round until you get through round 19. And when you're on round 19, on the very last stitch, we need to change colors, because not only are we going to then do a stitch pattern changing colors, but we're going to be working the split single crochet into every stitch. So let's take a look what that looks like now. So once again, let me point out that I am working on a smaller sample of the tote than you might be working on. So you need to work through round 19, and that's where we're picking up right now, is the very last stitch of round 19. When you come up to the last stitch of round 19, go ahead and go in to work your split single crochet, yarn over and pull up your loop. What we want to do now is we're going to change colors on this next yarn over and draw through, but we will not be cutting our original color. So for this, I'm going to grab this really pretty green color. I'm going to leave at least 4 to 6 inches of a tail and just butt it right up next to my working yarn. And all I will do now is yarn over with my new color and pull that through the 2 loops that are on my hook. Now the new loop on my hook is my new color. Now for rounds 20 through 27, we will be changing colors every stitch to get a really cool checkerboard look in the center of our tote. We will also be working these stitches all as split single crochets. So we aren't going to work just regular single crochets, they're all split single crochets. We do have 3 different choices as far as how we change colors. So I'm going to show you all 3 different methods that Bendy says we can use in the notes section of this video. The hardest part with any of these is making sure that you don't have your yarn super tangled as you're working along. It's sort of the nature of the beast when you're working with color work. So just kind of hang in there, and if you find that you're getting your work tangled a little bit, just set it down and untangle it. Okay, so here's the first method. Just like before, we do want to make sure that we maintain the start of our round. So we will keep this stitch marker in play. I'm going to go ahead and take it out so that I can move it. And in round 20, you'll see that it says with color B, that's the color I have on my hook right now, it says do a split single crochet in the next stitch. So this is different than what we've been doing all along, right? Because we have been starting off the round with a regular single crochet. This time we will do a split single crochet. So I'm going to go into this stitch like a split single crochet, just like I'm supposed to. And oops, I didn't go into it. Let me try it one more time. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Now the instructions say that it says and change to A. Well, to me, that means that we need to yarn over with our color A now, not our color B, and change colors just like we did before. So if I'm reading this correctly, the first way we could do this is to go ahead and drop our color B, pick up color A. So for me, that would be blue. And I'm going to go ahead, yarn over with my blue and pull through. So now I have blue ready to go. Okay. Now the next stitch is a split single crochet into the next one. So I would go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, and the instructions say change to B. So I would drop my blue, pick up my green, yarn over with my green, and pull through. You see how I'm doing this here? Go to the next stitch, do a split single crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, drop my green, pick up my blue, and yarn over and pull through with my blue. Can you see how this works? Go to the next one, do my split single crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, drop my blue, pick up my green, yarn over with my green, and pull through. Go to the next stitch, do my split single crochet, yarn over, pull up my green, drop my green, pick up my blue, yarn over, and pull through. It's kind of tedious. I'm not exactly sure if that's what Bendy wants us to do. The great thing about doing it this way is you can see that the green V coincides with the actual stitch that would be the stitch for that green V. Okay, so that's one way you can change colors. One of the other ways is this. I have my blue on my hook, so all I could do is come over here, go into the stitch to do my split single crochet, yarn over, pull up, and then yarn over and draw through with my blue. Now I can go to the next stitch, go in. This time I would take the blue and let it just hang out, grab the green. See how I'm floating it across the back of those stitches? So I could float it across the back of those stitches, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and draw through. Notice that gives me the green V, but it makes it so that the stitch that would coincide with that green V is actually blue. Does it matter? I don't know. As we're working around this particular swatch, we'll find out if those stitches actually show up. So let's see if it does matter. The great news is that Bendy did say that this is one of the options we could use to change colors. It's whatever we prefer. So maybe it's a good way. Maybe this is the way she chose. I'm not exactly sure, but we're going to see how this looks. So I would carry on, come over here, do my split single crochet, drop my green, and then I'm carrying my blue across. Can you see the blue is right there? So I'm floating it across, yarning over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and draw through. Let's do this for a couple times so we can see which way we prefer in this entire madness here. Can you see that? And then this one, we could drop the green, carry over the blue, pull up, and pull through. Can you see that? So that, again, it changes colors, and it looks like we have a couple different colors. Another way we could do it is just keep the blue always in play, okay? So over here, I could go into this stitch like I'm going to do a slip stitch, single crochet. And this one is supposed to be green, so I yarn over with the green and pull up, drop the green again, but finish it with the blue. Can you see that? So the green is literally just hanging out there. It's only getting pulled in when I use it for the V's. So then I come over here, I do my split single crochet with my blue, come over here, do my split single crochet with my green, so I float the green across and pull it up, but I don't do anything else with it. I just kind of leave it there, and then I lock it in with the blue again. Come over here, work with the blue. Let's get into the right space. Make sure you're maintaining those nice and loose. But you can see with this one, it keeps the blue chain looking thing on top, but I do get the different colored V underneath. Can you see that? The other thing I can do here, I know this is a fourth one, but it's kind of similar to what's happening here. So I'm going to go into this next one, and I'm going to float this across the green, okay? I'm going to pull up my green, and then I'll do the blue. Now here's the option. I can take my green, knowing I'm coming over here, and I'm going to work my blue again, so I'll go into here, and I could rest my green on top, and then have the blue pull through all of that. See how it kind of locks that green into place right there? So it's not as much of a float. And then finish with my blue. Come over here, use my green, finish with my blue. Come over here. This one is blue. I'm going to rest my green on top, not use it, and work with the blue and finish with the blue. Can you see that one? So that one is very similar to how these ones are done, only it's resting the blue on top. Let's take a look on the inside so you can see what the difference is for all of them. Right here is what we started with changing colors within the last pull through of the stitch. Right here is what it looks like when we were floating the color across, okay? This here, again, is floating the color. This here is trying to lock that extra color in place. So you have lots of options as far as how to change the color, but at the end of the day, it's really up to you. We just want to make sure that those colors show up in the V's because that's what's going to give us this really cool checkerboard look. Let's continue on, pick one of those methods of changing colors, and let's get around this entire round 20 and jump into round 21. Okay, so I am at the end of my round. I just finished with my last color A into my split single crochet, and here's my marker. And so I will go ahead, remove my marker, and it looks like round 21 is just like a repeat of round 20. So we will start off with color B. So working into the split stitch right here, I'm going to work into the split stitch. So I shouldn't call it a split stitch, it's a split single crochet. And I'm going to use color B, and I'm going to continue on using the same method that I've been using all along for the second half of my tote here. So I'm going to give this a whirl and see how it continues. I've been using the kind of the tuck it in method. So I just did one, and now I go to the next split single crochet and I work my B or my blue, and then I go to the next, which is my green. So I'm going into the green and I'm yarning over with my green and pulling up, but I finish off with my blue, and then go to the blue but rest the green on top. I don't know if this makes any sense. I'm just kind of trying to tuck it in to see how it goes. Let's see. Now let's take a quick look real quick. Right here, this is when we did the change on the last yarn over and draw through of the color. Okay, you can see those line up really great. Those actually look really awesome. And we have a couple more here with those. So let's see if that continues on with that looking really good. So this is the green. Ooh, split on me. And then pull over with the blue. This is the blue. But I rest the green on top. Finish with the blue. Okay, so this is what it looks like. They stack on each other when you change the color in the yarn over of the stitch prior to the color change. Okay, so now this one here, if you remember, this one is where I went in and I would pull up green, even though I had blue back here, and I finished with green. Okay, so I went like that. And let's see if that changes anything here. Well, so let's just go like that right there. Who cares? And then this one here. So this was blue. So I would use the blue, pull up, and then finish off with blue. And this is green. Pull up and finish off with green. And this is blue. It's kind of nice because I'm just matching the colors up with what I'm going into for the split single crochet. Now these ones here, they look a little bit more muddied because there's a lot more color bleed going on. So over here, these look a lot more clean. Can you see that? The greens are all staying with each other. The blues stay with each other. Where over here, it looks a little bit more muddied. Does it look horrible? No, it still looks good. It's just a different sort of look. And I mean, honestly, it's a little bit easier than changing colors on the last yarn over and draw through. Let's see here. This is where we just pulled up the green and we always use the blue on top. So let's see how these look. This might be the best answer all along because everything is going to always be that same blue color with the green just kind of hanging out there, right? So let's see this one. I pull up the green, but I finish off with blue. And this is blue. And this one's green. Oops. But finish off with blue. Wow, to me that one almost looks the nicest. That one looks really good to me. Can you see that? See how the greens they're just like a highlight? There's no muddied green chains beside. Yeah, if you were to ask me, this is the one to do. This one or the one where you tuck the green. So let's continue on with this. Let's work this together. So that's the blue. This one, I pull up the green, but I finish with blue. And this one is blue. I could rest the green on there to tuck it, or I can just leave it just hang out in the back and float it across. This one's the green, finish with blue. Oh man, look how nice that is. Those are clean. I like that. That's much nicer. Can you see there? Can you see, like, those are messy. Even these ones over here where you change colors, those are a little bit messy. But when you do it this way, those are nice and clean. Much more clean. I like that. So if you have a choice, if you want to try out all of them just like I did, you can. Or if you want to just go with what I'm going with here, I think this is the best way. So let me go through this one more time. For me, so I'm on row 21. And I am just, whenever there's color B is in play, I am just pulling up color B in the first pull up. As I go into the stitch here, I will pull up my color B, which is green. But then I finish off with A. So color B doesn't have any other action other than it's just pulling up. I split that one. Other than it's just pulling up that initial go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then I finish off with B. Can you see that? So that initial pull up a loop there gives me that really nice stitch right there. The biggest thing I can see here is these look like they're getting a little bit tight. I want to make sure I don't let them get super tight, but I think that looks the best. And it's the easiest as I'm working through all of this, just so that you guys know. Just kind of letting it float along the back. And I'm finding that not even tucking it in is just fine. Like right here, this is green and then finish with blue. Yeah, that's way easier. I know that my friend Bethany over at Whistle and Ivy does a lot of this stitch, this split single crochet, sometimes called waistcoat stitch. And it looks really good. Oh, look, my marker fell out. I'm like, why? This should be the end. All right, so I can tell it's the end because I have 2 of the green V stitches stacked up on top of each other here. Oh, that's cool. Let me put this down. Can you guys see this? So they're stacked up. So this is where the stitch pattern is actually going to change. So in order to get the checkerboard look, we're actually going to make it so that my green stitches, my B stitches, are now going to be in this column. So we're going to change it up. So on round 22 and 23, my next 2 stitches will be in this column instead of this one, okay? So right here at the start, I have A on my hook. And for round 22, I want to start off with A on my hook. So I have A on my hook, and I'll come over here to this stitch here, and I'll do my split single crochet. I can go ahead and mark that too, so I know it's the start of the round. You getting the hang of this now? Now that we've worked through all the different color changes, you getting the hang of it a little bit? Let's work this round and see how this looks. So I did my blue, and I'm over here to do the next split single crochet, and you'll notice this is where the color changes. So I'm going to continue on using the color method that I just kind of told you that I think is the best, and then finish off with my blue. Yeah, I like that one the best. So then I'm going to go and I just alternate the 2, you guys. So even if you can't remember what color is going where, just take a look. And as long as, let's see, I've got colors going split there. As long as the colors, the V's are just 2 deep of each color, and then it just rotates. So right here, see how there's 2 green? I'll come over here and I'll work my blue. And then these are all blues, so I'll come over here and I'll work my green. And this one, again, I'm just making it so that way the green pull up, and then I finish with my blue. That looks so much cleaner. Look how dirty those look down there. Those are the other color changes. This one looks so much better. So much better, in my opinion. I'm going to come over here. This is the green. And over here is the blue. Over here is the green. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys to kind of see me work through this a little bit. You'll notice now I have all the blue on top here. The color changes are purely going on down here with my initial draw through, my yarn over and pull up. So that's it. That's the where the color comes into action, right? So like right here, this yarn over and pull up, I should say, yarn over and pull up is where the color is actually going to show up. Let me see here. You see that? So much better. I like that. That looks so much better. So let me go ahead and finish this round. And then what we would do is we would have one more round just like this one. So that way we could get two color stacks, you know, 2 rows of the colors stacking. And then you would repeat rounds 20 through 23 once again to get some more height or more color into the center section of this tote. Oh, that looks so much better. Doesn't that look so much better? It's so clean. Look at this side. See how clean those are compared to this side? Look how messy that looks there. Look how messy all those look because of those color changes. So much better just to carry the yarn along the back. And you can see here, like the back, it's not even like super ugly or anything. It's kind of pretty. So much better. All right, I'm going to finish this round and the next round so that way we can take a look at what we have. All right, so I have worked up a couple of rounds here. Let's set this down. So this is the pretty side that I've been saying all along that I thought looked the most clean. And then this is the other side where we tried out different stitches. You can see down here, this is where we tried out, I shouldn't say different stitches, we tried out different methods of changing colors. So these ones down here, they just aren't nearly as clean and crisp as the ones up top where I totally just made it so that way my secondary color came through just on that first pull through. And it looks much cleaner. So you can choose for yourself which method you prefer. The thing is, it gets us there, right? All of those color changes get us what we want. It's just, in my opinion, this particular one looks the cleanest. So this is rows 20, 21, 22, 23. You would repeat these 4 rows one more time for this section of the tote. Once you've completed this section, you would go ahead and cut your color A. So that's the color you started off with. So I would go ahead and I would cut my blue and I would carry on in my pattern just using my color B or my green. So the second part of my tote is all done in my green. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to this particular stitch pattern for the top part of the tote. So let's go ahead and jump into that. So I would just leave my color A hanging out here. Again, I want to maintain the start of my rounds here. So for this one, I'm getting ready to start round 28. Let's pretend this is round 28. And I will single crochet in this next stitch, okay? So I will work a regular single crochet right there. Let's go ahead and mark that. All right, so I'm gonna mark it right there. And then I would do a split single crochet into the next one. So remember, this one counts for that space. So I'm gonna go to the next one and work my split single crochet. Then I work a single crochet and work a split single crochet. Single crochet, split single crochet. This just so happens that the colors that I'm working in my split single crochet are the same color as my B, and that it should be the same case for you because this would be rounds 26 and 27 and we're getting ready to work round 28. So right here, it's pretty easy because we would just do our split single crochets into the same color that we're actually working with. Can you see that? Pretty simple. And this is the same stitch pattern that we started off with. So it's nothing new at this point. It's the same stitch pattern. We're just changing it up. So when we work those color changes, that's when we worked our slip single crochet, or I'm sorry, what's when we worked our split single crochet in every stitch. But with this one, we go from single crochet to split single crochet. single crochet to split single crochet, single crochet to split single crochet, and we're at the end of our round. You would carry on repeating that particular round through round 58. When we get to round 59, that's when we change it up ever so slightly. So let me go ahead, get a couple of rounds on this particular swatch, and then we'll jump to round 59. Okay, so I've worked a couple rounds of just my color B, and again, you can see it's starting to create the same stitch pattern as we created down here at the base. Let's go ahead and jump to the instructions for round 59. Round 59, it says to go ahead and change to our smaller hook. So I'm going to take that hook out, and I'm switching to my smaller hook. And I'm going to take out my marker because I'm guessing this is the last round. I'm not going to need it again. And let's jump in. It says slip stitch into the first single crochet. So here's my single crochet. So I will slip stitch. So I yarn over, pull through, and then pull that through. So once I've done that, I will split single crochet, chain 2, split single crochet in the next split single crochet. So if you're looking at the instructions, you'll see that all of that I just read is in parentheses. Everything that you read that is within parentheses, you are going to do all of that into one stitch. Whatever stitch that is, it's usually indicated as the first thing outside of the parentheses. So let's read that one more time. We will do a split single crochet, chain 2, split single crochet, and all of that will go into the next split single crochet. So here we go. We want to make sure that we don't use this one because that's not a split. This one is. So we will go in and we will work our split single crochet, chain 2, and then go to that same space and work a split single crochet. You see that? So I did all of that into that one split single crochet. Now you'll see in the instructions it has a star, and after that star it says skip single crochet. So we would skip a single crochet, and then it says parentheses again, split single crochet, chain 2, split single crochet in the next split single crochet. So let's go ahead and do that. So we would skip a single crochet, come to the next split, work a split single crochet, chain 2, and a split single crochet. You'll see now that we're supposed to repeat from star. So that's pretty easy. We'll skip a single, go to the next split single crochet, and then work our split single crochet, chain 2, split single crochet, all into that same space. What this is doing, it's giving us a nice kind of like picot edge going on here. It's really nice and pretty. And I would just repeat that all the way around my tote. So let's go ahead and work a couple of these. Remember to always skip the single, and you're only working into those split single crochets. Okay? Pretty easy. This isn't so difficult. So once we get this, let me get a couple of these done here so you can see what it looks like. Oh, I keep wanting to do a double crochet. I don't know why. Once you get to the end of the round, you would actually join with a slip stitch and then fasten off. So the top of your bag looks a little something like this with these nice little chain 2 sort of picots. Can you see that? Pretty cool. And the body of your bag, I love the base stitch here. I love this idea of working the single crochet next to the split single crochet. I think that looks really pretty. And I really love this up here, the split single crochet side by side. Yours obviously will have a checkerboard. It'll be a lot larger than this, but it's really nice. It gives a really nice fabric. I really like the way this entire bag feels with the scrubby, smoothie yarn here and the size I or 5.5 millimeter hook. It looks really good, and it made it so that my stitches were not so tight I couldn't get into them to make this really great split single crochet. Now that you finished your tote, there's only 2 more things you need to complete. Remember, you also have to make the straps. Now the straps are made using your color B to match the top of this. Do you have to use color B? Absolutely not. You could go back to your color A and make the straps that way. Let me show you how to get started to make those straps. Now that you have the body of your bag made, it's time to make the straps. You will make 2 straps using your color B. Do you have to use color B? No. You could totally use color A if that's what you want to do. The straps are actually made using the split single crochet method we've been using all along, coupled with the chain 1. We will be working in rounds just like we did on the tote, only we'll have far fewer stitches. Go ahead, grab your larger crochet hook and your color B, and let me show you how to get started with the straps. For the straps, we will go ahead and put a slip knot directly onto our hook just like before. Now go ahead and chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to create a round, so we will come to the first chain we did and work a slip stitch to create a ring. Now for round 1, we will chain 1 stitch here, and we will do a single crochet all into this big ring here. We'll do a single crochet and then a chain 1, and that's 1. We're going to do this 4 times. So we'll do a single crochet, make sure it's nice and loose, and chain 1. That's 2. Single crochet, whoops, single crochet, chain 1, that's 3. Single crochet, chain 1, that's 4. We're going to work in continuous rounds, so we are not going to join to work in the round. This will be just like we did before. So round 2, we'll go ahead and in this very first single crochet, we'll do a split single crochet. So can you see my V right there? So we're going to do a split single crochet to start. Go ahead and mark that point so that you know where the start of your round is. Now you will chain 1, skip the chain 1 space, go to the next single crochet and do another split single crochet, and then chain 1. Skip the chain 1, go to the next single crochet and do a split single crochet, chain 1, so on and so forth. Make sure you skip the chain, go to the next single crochet to do the split single crochet, and then chain 1. You're back to the start here, okay? So we can go ahead, we can move our marker out of the way. If you don't want to keep a marker for this, you don't have to, because what's great now is that we will have these stacking split single crochets going on, so you'll kind of have a good idea of where you are. So we just did a split, make sure you skip your chain, go to the next split single crochet. You see it right there? You see that? And we just continue on in the round, making sure we place a chain 1 between each one of these split single crochets. Okay? And you would do this until your strap measures the length that you want it to be, or until it measures about 38 inches. Again, you have to do this twice. What you can do then is you could use your tail here, and you can actually sew the straps to the inside of your bag using your tail. So for the straps, you would just put like one right here and one right here. So this would be the one end of the strap, you make it long enough, and this would be the other end. And then you would do the same thing for the opposite side. But it's pretty easy. You already know how to do the stitch. You already know how to work in the round. This time we're just doing a chain 1 in between each one of our split single crochets. So at this point, you should be good to go. You should be able to make your easy split tote. Now, remember the things that we learned. You want to make sure that you do crochet a little bit loosely because it's a little difficult to get into the post of that single crochet where the V is that we want to place our stitch if it's too tight. So we'll make sure that's a little bit loose. The other thing you want to remember is that we are not working increases past our initial foundation row. So once we work into that foundation chain round and you have 90 stitches, you will not increase. So if you find that you're starting to get more stitches than 90, you've done something wrong and you might need to rip back because you should not be increasing. The other thing you want to remember is that we do have several different choices as far as how we change colors, and we did work through several of them, all of them actually, and I found one that I thought looked the best. Hopefully you found one that you like the best as well. It doesn't matter which one you choose, just pick one and stick with it. Don't have something like mine where it has many different ways to do it. Pick one of the ways and use that for your entire tote, okay? So that's what you want to do there. Last but not least, you can make this tote in many different colors. It does not have to be just in the 2 colors that I showed you or the 2 colors that are done in the example. You can change colors as often as you want. You can have fun with this thing. So I encourage you to go out there and have a good time. If you find you're working along on this pattern and you have a comment or a question, make sure you do ask me on this video. I do my best to answer all of the questions and the comments on all of the videos here on YouTube. And the last thing here is if you do make this tote or any of the other items here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel, make sure you tag me on social media. Just use hashtag #MarleyBird. I'm #MarleyBird over on Instagram, or you can follow me on Facebook under Marley Bird. I want to make sure I'm able to find your work so I can smash your like button. I don't know about you, but I really love this particular little stitch pattern. I love the feel of the scrubby, smoothie yarn. It's really nice and soft, 100% cotton yarn. It feels great, and I think it's perfect for a little tote. I'm gonna make this a little coin bag. I think this is a cute little coin bag. I just love it. I had a good time. Hopefully you did too, and you'll come back here for more videos right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel, or hit subscribe so that you're up to date whenever there is a new video released. Thanks everybody. I'm Marley Bird, proud spokesperson for Red Heart Yarns. Bye. Everything you need to know about knitting or crochet can be found right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Learn with Marley Bird. Visit youtube.com/MarleyBird.